All right, injury report is out. Little road work, SNL. Cody Stoots on the scene. Landry Locker here, reacting to the final injury report as we do every Friday. And there's going to have to be some gymnastics, some schematic stuff, some shuffling from DeMeco Ryans. Obviously, the big news. It does appear Joe Mixon is good to go. I say it's. I think it's safe. It's questionable, Stoots, but Joe Mixon's going to play on Sunday.
He certainly talked like a guy that was going to play this week when we talked to him in the locker room this week. I feel like the way he talked about it and having 2 practices under his belt, it'd be very hard to keep him off of the field. I know it's the New England Patriots, but the Texans always say, hey, they want their best 11 guys out there. Well, he's one of the best players on the team. If he's good to go, I mean, the player's going to tell you he's good to go, but if the training staff says he's good to go and they believe he can be close to 100% or 100%, get him out there and get him on the field and start being able to run the football better than they have been able to run the football.
They're not going to let Joe Mixon talk if he's not going to play. I mean, and that's if he doesn't play, then it would be shocking that they even let him talk because typically with this PR staff, if it's ever in doubt, they're not going to let him talk. He talked, and the way he talked, he came across as a guy that's going to play. As far as the shuffle goes, now we look at the running back position, and let's stay at this running back position as we talk about the DeMeco Ryans, Bobby Slowick shuffle. It is SNL, Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. Are we going to see 4 running backs active? Are we going to see Cam Akers inactive? What are we doing here? Is it Dameon Pierce? Do we go back to what we saw in week 1? What does this look like?
Here's what I would say. If they feel comfortable with Mixon's health and they don't feel like he's going to get hurt in this game, or they feel like he's good to go, it's as close to 100% as he's going to be, then they probably make Cam Akers inactive and use the roster spot elsewhere. But if there's any chance that they feel like Mixon's going to get re-injured, you need to have Akers just in case, because Akers has shown more than Dameon Pierce has. Pierce hasn't played since week 1. Who knows how in tune he is with this thing? And oh, by the way, with it being a hamstring injury, the chance that he could get re-injured still exists as well. I know he's a full participant. That doesn't mean he's 100% healed up from the hamstring. That just means he was able to practice through the whole practice. So I would have Akers active just in case. Also, Akers can help you in the return game for kickoffs as well, not punt returns, but kickoffs. So I would have Akers active. I feel like you can finagle and find other places on the roster if you can make Akers active to figure out whatever else you need from special teams.
Yeah, the running back shuffle is going to be. To be honest, had Joe Mixon not been ready to go, then I think this would have been more of a story. But I don't look at it as much because I think Mixon's going to carry the load, and then whatever happens behind him is going to be something that you don't worry about as much.
Ideally, this thing is Joe Mixon with a dash of Dare Ogunbowale for pass blocking. That's what the ideal situation would be from a running back perspective. And I guess 2 carries for Dameon Pierce like we saw, week 1.
And the big story, obviously, this week was Nico Collins. He goes to injured reserve. So immediately the wide receivers at the bottom of the depth chart, they get elevated, and you wonder what the hell they're going to do. Well, now you're going to be without Robert Woods, who's got a hurt foot, which means you're going to have a new return man. Does that mean that Steven Sims comes back into the mix? Do they perhaps use Desmond King because of the corner shuffle that we'll get to in a second? We're already 2 shuffles in this. Mm-hmm. We are going to Costco to order shuffles when it comes to the Texans and DeMeco Ryans. The wide receiver thing is interesting now with no Robert Woods. I think we see Mechie and Hutchinson on the field a lot. What do we see in the return game? I think that's probably to be determined. And maybe that actually helps out Steven Sims now because maybe they're more likely to be open to him playing receiver and they need receiver. So it can kind of work both ways here when it comes to roster flexibility. Are you going to use the corner or are you going to use the wide receiver to return kicks, punts?
Robert Woods played 72% of the offensive snaps when Tank Dell was out. So when Dell was down, they primarily used Robert Woods. Now Robert Woods is down in addition to Nico Collins being down. So you can't have counteracted or you can't have practiced all week thinking, okay, well, we're not going to have Woods, so let's just do 2 wide receiver sets. So who's the guy? I would say it's probably Xavier Hutchinson gets some of those snaps, but none of those guys feel like they should get all of the snaps. Maybe it's just a ride the hot hand scenario between Hutchinson and Mechie, and I guess a little bit of Steven Sims from a wide receiver standpoint. But your point about the returns, it's an interesting one, because do you go right back to Steven Sims? Has he done enough in practice to show them that they're comfortable and confident in him to go back to the return game? Or do you use maybe one of those elevations to get a guy up that can return? Or do you use Tank Dell? But with Dell's, essentialness to the wide receiver room, do you want him to have – it was easy to use Dell when he was the 3rd wide receiver because he could take a breather. You could run a 2 wide receiver set. He's now one of the top 2 wide receivers, so he doesn't have a breather. He punt returns and he's right back on the field. There's no breather built in for him. So it becomes a little mixing and matching. I just want somebody that's not going to catch the ball inside the 5-yard line, and I want somebody that's going to not fumble the football. So I don't know who that is, but put that guy out there.
Well, the other thing is that both guys did it. So that was what was interesting. It wasn't just Sims and it wasn't just Woods who returned one inside the 5. Can I interest you in a stat?
Yes, please.
The last time. Now, I guess this technically isn't true because the roof was open, but the last time that Steven Sims returned punts in a 100% outdoor stadium, he scored a touchdown.
Baltimore?
That's it. Go through them. The last time that in a traditional outdoor stadium, Steven Sims returned punts, he scored a touchdown, my friend.
That's the most filtered gimmick stat I've ever heard in my life. Good Lord. Wait, what is this, baseball? Well, in the bottom of the 3rd inning with a 3-2 count against the left-handed pitcher in his 3rd inning of work, the guy has a 248 batting average.
Hey, don't let that get in the way of a little bit of information. Jake on the chat says he put 700 on the Texans to win. Goodness gracious. 700.
Even money over at BetUS for Texans -7. Even
money, even bread. 100 gets you 100. That is good. Tank Dell returning punts. Shout out to I Must Pandaline. She says Tank Dell returning punts. Look, I'm the biggest proponent of Tank Dell returning punts, but even in this situation where there's no Nico Collins and there's no Robert Woods, I wouldn't mind it situationally. But even me, I don't necessarily want that to be the case full time in this instance when he is your true number 2. Now, when Nico's back, maybe so. Maybe I'm being overly cautious. And it's kind of contradictory to what I've been asking for, but I'll be honest, my mindset kind of changes with Nico out more so than what I've been, which is the biggest proponent of Tank Dell returning punts.
I like it as a one-off. Hey, let's just see what this looks like, and then you give him that chance after the punt return if he actually returns it. You give him, if it's just a fair catch, okay, leave him on the field, run whatever, but if he actually returns it, okay, put Mixon and Hutchinson out there for a play, run the football, or throw it to Diggs. Give Dell that chance to catch his breath. It was easier when Nico was involved to say, do it. It's a little bit harder now, but I wouldn't totally rule it out, especially if you're having, a hiccup or trouble getting things going. You need to steal some yards. I mean, Tank can do that. He was fantastic at it in college, and he's had some success at the NFL level a couple times. He's been able to do it.
We're doing the DeMeco and Bobby Slowick shuffle here on SNL Friday edition. Cody Stoots on the scene. Little road work here for Texas OU. Now we have the cornerback shuffle. This one's interesting because I don't think there's a clear answer to this. The scenarios that we lay out with running back and wide receiver, I think there's a lot more options, and I think there's a lot of ways to mask it. With this is the one that I probably feel the worst about, just because how good Lassiter has been and how fortunate you've been to be able to really only play 2 cornerbacks and how much of a drop off there is with the possibilities with Lassiter. This cornerback shuffle is going to be wild to watch to see what they do. Is it going to be Hallman? What are they going to do? I got a feeling we're probably going to get an email shortly with some sort of elevation. It could be Kurt Heinisch too. You have Mario Edwards limited. So who knows what they're going to do, but I anticipate getting some sort of email with some sort of elevation.
I believe it's going to be D'Angelo Ross. I mean, that's the guy that they've had on the roster. He played for the team last year at the cornerback spot. They brought him back early on in the season when Okudah got hurt, because this would be Jeff Okudah, but Jeff Okudah is injured. He's on IR. So, and it's not, to my knowledge, it doesn't seem like he's really close to returning.
You sure about that?
Well, I mean, it's not like it's not like they activated a practice window for him and he's been practicing with the team. I mean, it's one thing to work out on the side. It's another thing to actually activate the practice window and practice. But so I would tell you it's D'Angelo Ross. D'Angelo Ross was targeted 5 times last year. He played 5 coverage snaps for the Texans last year. He was targeted 1 time. He allowed a touchdown for 75 yards to Amari Cooper, and then he was right back off the field. That was the only time he played last year. It's not going to be Chris Boyd. Boyd was horrible in the preseason. You can't put him out there. They've signed Kadar Holman as a backup option, and then on the active roster, Miles Bryant, but he's an inside guy. I mean, you'd only play him outside in a pinch. Then it becomes okay, hey, you need a little help returning the football as well. Do you elevate Desmond King? He can help you with returns. In a pinch, he could play outside. He's done it in his career, though with the Texans, he's primarily played inside. So there's no good answer, Landry. None of these guys would be like, yeah, excited to see that guy replace Kamari Lassiter.
It's a make do.
Yeah, who's played 100% of the snaps at cornerback opposite Derek Stingley.
It's a make do. It's not something where I don't think any of these guys are going to replace Kamari Lassiter. Maybe it starts up front too.
Of any game for Lassiter to miss, it would be this game because it's a rookie quarterback making his first start with the worst offensive line in the league when it comes to protecting the quarterback from pressure. So you've got to get a pass rush. May's not throwing at Derek Stingley, so he's throwing at whoever the other guy is. Okay, make May pay when he does that. If you're the backup, maybe a little safety help, whatever you need to do as a defense schematically to make May pay when he goes at that backup cornerback.
Then we got the safety shuffle. This one's interesting. No Jimmy Ward. And this probably doesn't come as much of a surprise, but there is going to be no Jimmy Ward on the field. What does that mean? Does that impact Jalen Petrie at all? What are we looking at with the Jimmy Ward thing? I do wonder what this is like. I also think they're probably a little bit used to this and prepared for this.
This just means Eric Murray and Kalen Bullock play basically the whole game at safety with MJ Stewart if they need him for a play or two. This to me is the least shuffle. Bullock already played 100% of the snaps last week with Ward in and out of that game. So Murray ended up being Ward's backup last week, and Bullock, started and played 100% of the snaps. So it's Bullock and Murray in the back end, and if they need him, it's MJ Stewart. I would say Petrie stays at his Petrie position near the line of scrimmage and as the slot corner / star linebacker, whatever you want to phrase it.
So we have the DeMeco shuffle. We have the Bobby Slowick shuffle. I would say the biggest concern, and I don't want to speak for you, would be the cornerback situation. The cornerback situation is by far the biggest concern. The wide receiver position you can overcome in other ways. Having a run game helps. Having Dalton Schultz and Stover and whatever else they decide kind of helps. But the cornerback is the thing that I think sticks out the most. As far as what they're going to have to figure out. And quite frankly, I don't know that there's any shuffling with the cornerback position. I think it's more so, they're shuffling in the lineup because I don't see either one of these guys being able to hold up the whole time, but it's not.
I'd be shocked if somebody played 100% of the snaps. There's none of these guys you feel that good about to play 100% like Lassiter had been playing.
Right. 100% correct. But we agree on the Lassiter thing. I think Sunday is one of DeMeco's biggest tests, and my layout of this is, look, we saw them last year. They were able to beat a good football team. They did it, and they proved that any given Sunday they can beat a really good football team. We haven't seen that they can avoid like significant letdowns. And I think despite all these questions we have, losing to New England would be disappointing. It would be a missed opportunity, and it would be a significant letdown. And given all the stuff that DeMeco Ryans is going to have to do, I think this is one of his biggest tests. And I think if he's able to come out of this with a dub, I almost put it up there with the Buffalo win, because if you don't do this, then the Buffalo win looks completely different. And this isn't like going to be a week-to-week snowball effect, but I think in this situation, with the games that you got coming up, with how tough the schedule is, with the opportunity in front of you, with the rookie quarterback starting, making his first start, I think this is a big test for DeMeco Ryans. And I think it's actually a test that he can pass, because the one thing that I think he's shown this year from a coaching standpoint, specifically on defense, is he can adjust. And he can run a defense that probably, like, if they had full personnel, might not be the every time defense. They might have lucked into something to where that's what they're going to do. But I think this is a really, really massive test for DeMeco Ryans, where he kind of shows that, yeah, they can still beat good squads. Like they beat Cincy last year and they beat Buffalo. But if he can avoid this letdown, I think it's a really, 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 really strong performance by DeMeco Ryans if they're able to just get on the plane and leave New England with a dub.
If I could have switched Green Bay next week and New England this week and swapped them, I would, because having the better opponent coming off of that Buffalo one would be easier to deal with. And it's what you're talking about. The opponent you have this week, I have to imagine as a defender going into this matchup, you're thinking, Drake May, the rookie's going to start. They already stink. They don't have Ramondre Stevenson. They're 1-4. Like, you could very easily lull yourself into trying to sleepwalk through this game. And that's where DeMeco Ryans has got to make sure these guys are that. The offense, it's a little bit different for them because they got to figure out life without Nico. And there's a little bit of like, hey, we got to get dialed in. We got to figure out what we're doing for the next month without one of our best players. So it's a little bit different for the offense. But for the defense, which is DeMeco Ryans' side of the football, like, you can't be sleepwalking through their offensive line stinks, their best running back's out, it's the rookie quarterback. Like, we're going to just kill these guys. Like, you don't want to sit there and have yourself in the middle of a dogfight on the road against a crappy team like you did against Carolina last year. So I'm with you. From a motivation standpoint, from a, coming off the grinded out, tough win over a good team against Buffalo, to this matchup against New England, huge challenge for DeMeco Ryans. And he fixed it. It looked like he fixed it in the middle of last year. They had the Panthers let down, then boom, they went on the nice run. They beat Cincinnati on the road. They ultimately won the division. Let's see if it's still fixed. Okay, let's see if it's still fixed overall from last year when they had that Carolina letdown performance.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like a mental thing against Carolina or what, but let's just play into, and I'm actually going to get into this on the night stream, the potential like letdown and kind of sleeping on the Patriots, which is something CJ Stroud said he's not doing. Like, let's pretend that was a possibility. Let's just pretend that there was some possibility that coming off the win against Buffalo, let's say they ate the rat poison. It's one of my favorite topics. Let's say they ate the rat poison. As soon as Nico Collins goes on IR, that's got to wake you up. Like, if that was a possibility, that's like an if. I'm not sitting here saying like there's some sort of silver lining, but if we are playing into that there was a possibility, and that's always where there is a possibility when everyone's talking good about you and you're supposed to win a game. I think DeMeco Ryans' alma mater, Alabama, kind of showed that losing to Vanderbilt after the Georgia game. If that was a possibility, when Nico Collins goes down, it's got to at least kick you in the butt and eliminate that.
It's on the offense, absolutely, and you would hope so on the defense too. The conversation would definitely be, hey, everybody's got to pick it up with Nico out. We got to have better defense. You got to put the offense in better situations, and the offense is going to figure it out as well. And especially, I know that there's some bad stuff on the Patriots' resume defensively, but they've had a moment or two where they've looked pretty decent on defense. The scoring defense is better than the actual like yards allowed and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's like they've got a moment or two where they've looked okay on defense. They haven't looked good on offense. Like, the defense has got to be dialed in on this because, like, you can't take these guys lightly. Next thing you know, you're in a rock fight with Drake May in the middle of the third quarter. Like, that's
rock fight.
Like DeMeco Ryans has to have them dialed in. And I hope that the Collins situation is one of those things that, from a mentality standpoint, it ends up being a blessing in disguise. It's not great that he's missing on the field, but snap you back to reality. Hey, we got to be ready because that guy was important to us. Let's take care of business, even though it's the lowly, awful, terrible, no good, very bad 1-4 New England Patriots.
I was talking to one of like my favorite sports nerds in Boston who works for the Sports Hub, Alex Barth, and he was saying that New England's like the type of team where, first of all, he says that Gerard Mayo's getting killed. Like he says he's getting absolutely killed right now for starting Drake May in this game. And I don't really get that. This is not, I mean, there's some vulnerability on this defense. I don't think it's like the end all be all. Now I do think he might get sacked a lot. I think that's a possibility, but I don't know when the right time is to not throw a quarterback into the wolves. Like when is the right time? Like CJ Stroud, week 2 last year when he was hurt, he played against the Colts and it built some character. Deshaun Watson got thrown to the wolves in a game where Jacksonville had 10 sacks week 1 of 2017. So I don't know when the right time is. Maybe I'm just kind of looking at it through localized lenses. I don't look at it that way. But he said that New England's kind of one of those teams where I think
the right time was just the right time was before Miami. That was the right time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the right time was probably at the start of the season, if we're being completely honest. Like that's. I mean, you're not accomplishing anything with Jacoby Brissett. Like he should have just started from the beginning, and you would figure that out. I would think. But he said they're kind of a team where they're losing they lose by like double-digit points or whatever. But you watch the game, and it felt like it was closer. So that's kind of how he looks at that.
I could certainly see that when you look at 3 of the games that they've played. Like they upset Cincinnati week 1. They took Seattle to overtime in week 2, and they were leading Miami. It felt like for most of that game last week, and then they just fell apart and Miami did enough to win. Like, this is a defense that will hang around if you give them the opportunity to hang around. And lo and behold, what has the Texans offense done for most of the season is they've let teams hang around and not put guys away because, they kicked a bunch of field goals or they had an opportune turnover, or they just can't flat out run the football. Now, Mixon plays, maybe you solve some of that rushing the football issue. CJ's not going to throw a really bad, interception like he did last week every week. So, you could solve some of those things, but you let New England hang around long enough, they can stick around in a game.
Jake, shout out to Jake. Hopefully you get some spending money with a dub this week since you're putting $700 on the Texans. Going to Lambeau Field when we play Green Bay. I'm 5 hours away right now. Shout out to you. Not just a local show. Best local, most popular local following, but the all over the place.
Shoot,
worldwide.
We're international. I see them in the night chats when
Germany, London, all over.
I seen Belize before. Let's see.
Hold on. Actually,
I got a list real quick. Hold on. Austria, Brazil, Spain, Israel, Northern Wales, Germany, Belize.
What's up? Shout out to y'all.
Singapore, Texans fans all over the place.
Stand up. SNL. Subscribe on all the podcast formats as well. Chef with the R says, horrible game to start Drake May. Landry, did you forget what happened to Caleb? I think he's played better since. I think you got to go through growing pains to be a young quarterback. I mean, you can't. It's not going to be smooth sailing. So I saw CJ build character. I like to localize it. I saw CJ build character after the Colts game when he decided to go out there, and I saw Deshaun after Jacksonville go on the road and beat Cincinnati, and then get hot where the defense kind of let him down. I don't know what the hell that means.
May would rather play than not play too. He doesn't care who the opponent is. He wants to get in there and get this thing going.
Yeah, I just like Jacoby Brissett. That's not really going to excite anyone.
They wasted time with Jacoby Brissett. They never should have
given. They won the first game, so they probably felt good about it, and then they were just like,
right. Well, as soon as they sucked for the next 2, they should have made a change and got the rookie in there and got him playing. Like, I mean, there's no you weren't getting anything out of Jacoby Brissett playing. Like, there's a one game of like, hey, that's how you kind of gimmick us to a win, and then it's a couple of games of don't do that, Drake, and then they should have put him in there, So
I think we just got.
Andy doesn't have Ramondre too, so it's like he doesn't even have his best player on offense in this matchup.
Yep, Ramondre is out, so there's no, and he was fumbling a little bit too. So we'll see how that goes. They put Drake in against the Jets. How'd that go? He led him down the field, if I'm mistaken, and I might have had the over in the game, so it was a little bit memorable for me. He led him down the field inside the 10-yard line, and then they just let the clock run out. I actually thought he did all right. He got roughed up a little bit, but I think when he came in, he actually had a pretty good drive, if I'm not mistaken. I think it ended on 2nd or 3rd down.
Yeah, he got sacked on 1st and goal from the 7.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is that supposed to mean? I thought he actually showed some stuff. Jerome kicks. It's always dangerous when I let Jerome get on here without reading what the hell he said. I got to edit this, but too late. Shout out to Jerome. We talked about the teams we played this year and we barely won 4. LOL. This team don't have this and that. And what do you know? Close game. Yeah, I mean, I think it's expected to be a close game. I mean, I'm surprised by the 7. I would probably bet on the Texans, but I would feel weird doing so. This does have kind of the weird feel, and it does seem like it's leaning towards a close game for sure.
I mean,
Sarah.
The NFL is close games. Like this one shouldn't be. If Mixon's back, you run the ball better. You figure out what you need to do to get the ball in the air and have success. I believe in that. It shouldn't be close, but the NFL is close games. You hope this one's not close.
Sarah says, just got in. Did y'all talk about Patriots and Marcus Harris signing? Did not. He's on their practice squad, so I don't know what's he gonna. I don't know.
The last time a team added a former Texans player, it was Max Tooley on the Vikings, and the Vikings had enough for the Texans that day.
You think Tooley was the hidden ingredient? It wasn't Jonathan Grenard and Jefferson and Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell just dissecting everything. You think Max Tooley got a game ball?
Max Tooley gave Brian Flores all the knowledge he needed for the Texans. He kept all his knowledge in his mullet. He had it. He just gave it all to the Vikings. What are you keeping that hair up there, Max Tooley? Knowledge. That's what I keep in there.
Max Tooley, man. That was something else. For sure. Is there anything else that we're missing when it comes to the shuffle or the elements of the game? Because I think we've covered the running backs, we've covered the receivers, we've covered the corners.
Well, Titus Howard's going to be back starting at right tackle. He's healthy, so he's going to be back. So we've got we will start the. I mean, you've started it before the season started, but now we need to have a hard evaluation on Titus Howard this week.
Hard evaluation?
Comparing it to Blake Fisher last week. Because Howard's going to get a lot of the best Patriots pass rushers. Keon White, this kid's been pretty good. So it'll be, I mean, I'll do basically a 1-to-1 comparison, and I'll be watching that right tackle spot real closely because Fisher had a solid performance last week, had a couple of hiccups here or there, but Titus has hiccups. So, let's see if Titus Howard is an improvement over Fisher or if they're the same level, because that's something to kind of watch for this season and then watch for the offseason as well.
So this was me. This is me. And that's a dangerous place to try to relate to. But I'll just be honest, like when I'm looking at the injury report and I see, Mixon's in, yes, thank God. They don't have to go with the alternative. Lassiter's out. Oh crap, that sucks. That's not good. Jimmy Ward, yeah, I would rather have you out there. Titus Howard, okay, cool. Like it doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't look at it and say, all righty, we're in good shape. I actually thought that Blake Fisher had a couple of bad plays and he hung in there for his first start. I thought it was basically what we see from Titus Howard for the last damn near half decade, where there's good plays and then there's always that 1 or 2 bad plays that really, really just sticks out. So that's just me. Maybe it's.
I mean, I didn't throw him a return party. I'm just saying I'm paying attention to right tackle compared it to Fisher last week. I didn't get it. I didn't tell the waiter it was his birthday.
Get that
And get the
71 jersey out,
sombrero.
bro.
I
Get
didn't.
that 71 jersey out, bro.
I didn't tell the waiter to bring the sombrero out for the fake birthday party. That's not what I said. I just said I'm watching. I'm actually doing something that puts me towards being on your side of this equation, which is
Well, hey, you don't have to do that.
A hard evaluation of Titus Howard versus Blake Fisher last week.
You said you're hard for a hard evaluation.
I'm going to have a hard evaluation of
critical
Titus Howard.
evaluation. How about critical?
I'm going to have a critically
in-depth
and in-depth hard evaluation.
You can take hard out. You're good.
You're being a hard-o about the hard evaluation.
No, it's cool. At first I thought you said heart because like heart evaluation. I was like, oh, okay.
Like, does he have any heart when he's out there?
I don't know. No, I was thinking like, just heart. That's
one more thing. I love this.
Man, people are into Marcus Harris. What do you want me to say about Marcus Harris? I liked him as like kind of an underdog type of guy. I don't know. Like, is that a big deal?
I mean, my thought was he's going to be on the practice squad for a year, and then maybe he's got a chance to make the team next year. But they got plenty of guys playing well at defensive tackle. Plus, Heinisch is on his way back, so they're fine at defensive tackle. Don't worry about Marcus Harris. But Derek Barnett's back at he did not practice, limited full, so he should be good to go. You know how much I like Derek Barnett.
Yeah, you're a big Derek Barnett guy.
Well,
he's him though. I like Derek Barnett, man. He's just a silent about that business assassin. And when you're just sitting there watching the game, however you watch the game, whether you're, being a nerd like us and like on the laptop and getting notes, or you're double fisting beers or taking shots or eating chips or whatever, you look up and it's like, damn, 95's making some plays. He always seems to be there. It's like, oh, 95. Who's 90? Remember last year, what was the game where Barnett broke out and it was like, damn, who the hell is 95?
Well, did he have the big play in the playoff game? Didn't he have the pressure on Flacco ahead of the interception?
Yes, he did. But there was his first, I think it was Tennessee. I think Will Anderson was out or something like that. And it was the Tennessee game. It might've been when Case was out, but Will was out and they held Derrick Henry to like really, really low yardage total, like the lowest of his career. And then you looked up and there was like a 95 out there for him instead.
It probably was that first Tennessee game. He had a sack. He had 2 tackles for a loss, 3 tackles in that game. Played a lot of the snaps. Yeah, it probably was Tennessee. He was really good in both the Tennessee games last year.
All right, we got a weather question. Let's get to it. We go a little bit longer on Friday for the peeps. A little road work from me. Cody Stoots holding it down. May rain on Sunday. Any thoughts on that?
Literally don't care.
I don't know that the Patriots have like a big advantage with the rain. Like if it were like a team that's used to kind of yucking it up a little bit, I would say, but I don't know that Drake May really likes rain any more than anyone else. So, you're making your first start. You don't have your running back. You have Joe Mixon. I actually think the rain might be an advantage for the Texans if we're being completely honest. Although I don't think CJ likes crappy weather.
It's Frank Ross said it was going to be perfect weather, and then all of a sudden it ends up it's going to.
Well, he probably has a different version of different weather. By the way, Frank Ross, big SNL guy.
84% chance of rain on Sunday, but we don't know what time of day that is. Yeah, Frank Ross. Shout out to Frank, who is an SNL fan, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Frank Ross, big SNL guy. Brought it up in the hallway, asked about it. Good Lord, Patrick Gang, what the hell is wrong with you?
What'd he do? I do worry a little bit about Mixon because Aaron said he's playing.
Dude, no kidding, he's playing. Like everybody knows that. He got interviewed and he's practiced the last 2 times. Like no kidding. When did this get said?
Aaron tweeted it. He's like, Joe Mixon expected to play per source.
Per source? Per the media made him available. I don't even think I could talk to Juice Scruggs when he was like questionable. Like, yeah, Joe Mixon's playing, man. Built that business.
Also, so we just a quick thing about the injury report. We talked about the Texans one, and then Ramondre Stevenson not playing. He's the Patriots' leading rusher. The Patriots have like 12 dudes as questionable. That's got to
is that the corny ass Belichick crap?
That's got to be left over from when Belichick.
Is that corny ass Patriot way garbage?
If you had a hangnail, that you were questionable.
Yeah,
you had a hangnail,
where you just try to do that extra edge crap that the Patriots used to do, the Patriot way. God,
this
I
is
put the whole lineup questionable.
Yeah, right. The whole offense is questionable. Yeah, this the new quarterback this week for the Patriots. Their defense, sure, but the Texans have to adjust to life with no Nico Collins. I mean, we've said it before, but this very much is Texans do what the Texans need to do. Worry less about what the Patriots bring to the table, and then get out of there with a victory. 10, 13 points. Take care of your business. Get on the flight back and start getting ready for Green Bay. This is not about like some giant schematic. What does Mayo do with defense? What does Van Pelt do with offense? Just go take care of your business. Do what you do. Be the best pass rush in football. And maybe for all these people that aren't satisfied with the most pressure in football, maybe get a couple of sacks.
What do you mean these people?
Landry, how many times have we hear from people like, oh, Danielle Hunter sucks because he doesn't have any sacks, or Will Anderson, was he a bust because he didn't have any sacks? It's like they're the highest pressure rate in football. They're 7th in sack rate as a team. Like watch the defensive line. You can see that they are monsters and hard to defend.
Zombie ate my bra. Okay, that sucks. Although some of the young kids don't think bras are necessary, so maybe you're a youngster and that's good for you. Do you think this will be another Panthers trap game? I don't think so, but
it
you
would
never
be
know.
It would be one of the most disappointing losses in the DeMeco Ryans era.
No, I think so. I mean, it could easily happen, but yeah, I would think so. And the other thing about it is it's kind of a massive opportunity because it's expected when it comes to the smart folks. And shout out to BetUS. You can get 150% back, promo code YouTube 150 if you want to get in the game and get some of that even money on this thing. It's expected for the Bears to beat the Jags, which would put you, good God, 4 games ahead of them with the head-to-head. And the Titans are expected to beat the Colts. Who knows if that's going to happen or not?
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, if it does, though, then you're 3 games up on the Colts as your biggest threat. So over a third through your season, you'll be 3 games up on your biggest threat. I mean, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, you nor I expected this to be a runaway in the division, but you have the potential with the early season struggles of the other teams and the success the Texans have had and can have in the next few weeks. You have the potential to run away with this division.
Yeah, early, very early.
Very early.
I'm going to put you on the spot, courtesy of BetUS. This is Cody Stoots on the spot right now. I want you to book your bet. -7. Are you taking? Are you giving the points?
Oh yeah, give me -7.
Okay, so you feel good about that.
I feel good about that.
Okay, so you're going with the -7. Okay.
I feel good about that. I'm
even money too.
That's why I'm there. It's even money. If it was -7, normal juice or -120, I'd probably do something else. But -7, even money, I like that.
All right, so -7. I'm going to go with the -7. If you are a bettor, I'm actually only making one bet this weekend. I am not betting on this game, really. I might. Screw it. I'll take the -7. Screw it. I'll put 100 on it. You had to twist my arm. 100 to win 100. Let's go. But Gunnar Helm, Texas OU game.
You're not selling this, man. You got to do like one of those like crazy 1-900 number guys.
Over 34.5 yards. That is my bet for this week. I am hammering it. And I'm going to be at the Cotton Bowl. I think it's my 23rd Texas OU game of my life. Gunnar Helm, tight end for Texas. Right now, Bet US has it at 34.5 as the yards. Hammer it.
Man, I
Hammer it. And I will be hammering it too. So I'm not telling you to hammer it, and I'm not. Gunnar Helm, over yards, hammer it. And if you lose, I lost too. So don't get mad at me. I'm going to be more mad at myself than anything, but I am hammering it. Promo code YouTube 150. Promo code YouTube 150 if you want to get on that and win some bread. I think it might hit at halftime. I think it might hit at halftime. I'm just telling you, it might hit at halftime.
If you were one of these like 1-900 number guys, your face would be all red by now.
Well, I got the lock for you.
You'd have spit on the screen. You'd have torn your shirt off already, like Gunnar Helm.
Oh my
Gunnar Helm.
It's free money. Oh my! What are they thinking in Las Vegas? Are they asleep at the ring? What's going on?
50 unit lock.
It's the lock of the century. If you wanna invest and you want to be a part of making money off of the game, I got the bet for you. And this week it's free. It is free.
Call the 100-900 number now for the lock of the century of the decade.
Dalton says Giga Maggies. Hey, Giga Maggies, man, they're playing good, dude. They're playing really good. Ball right now.
That'd be fun if the rivalry renewed was for a playoff spot.
Well, they might play back-to-back weeks, which would be weird. But they might play back-to-back weeks, which would be strange. But yeah, I think A&M's a bigger threat than OU. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the Bet US pick of the week when it comes to the Texans. Tank Dell. Should people start Tank Dell on their fantasy team this week?
Ooh, yes, I do believe they should.
You had to think about that?
I do believe they should. Yes.
Did you have to think about that?
No. It was a question that caught me off guard because I feel like it's a bit of a no-brainer.
No-brainer, huh?
Well, what are your other options?
Should people start Dalton Schultz on their fantasy team?
Yes. Tight ends this year in fantasy. It's a roulette wheel. Who knows?
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Who's the Patriots outside receiver that gets to get covered by D'Angelo Ross?
You gonna take the over on the yards there?
I honestly, I don't know that I've heard of all these Patriots guys.
No, they got a bunch of WikiLeaks. Like they're like the Patriots. I don't know who their sponsor. It's Gillette, right? They have Gillette on their jersey. Do they?
Yeah.
It should be Wikipedia because you have to use it every time that one of their guys does something. They're like, it's a bunch of WikiLeaks, bro. Like it is.
Jalen Polk.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He was good in college.
Demario Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, Kayshon Boutte, Tyquan Thornton, and Javon.
Boutte was supposed to be good at LSU. Didn't he have like didn't he like quit and then not quit or something like that? Wasn't there like a bunch of drama leading up to the draft with him? It was weird.
Yeah, Boutte was supposed to be way better than he has been. And then it just kind of, I think that was Brian Kelly's first year. That was like his first scandal that he had to deal with.
Oh yeah, because he deleted a tweet. I remember that.
Something like that.
Man, the Marcus Harris thing, just getting a lot of love. Christopher asked, do y'all believe in the Patriots curse? Do you think the Patriots curse is over for the Texans? Some teams just can't beat a team regardless of the roster.
I mean, they beat the Patriots. They just haven't beat them in New England.
I do think, and I want to talk about this on the night stream, like there's a history of Patriots nightmares. Are we sleeping too much on them now? Are we in too much of a deep sleep after all those years of nightmares? That's the night stream tonight.
That's one hell of a tease there.
Shout out to Voss. He says he went to A&M undergrad, class of 16. Man, I love Northgate, man. I really do. I think, did you ever hit Chili Fest? Chili Fest was sick, dude. God. Those porta potties, the dirtiest porta potties you've ever seen. Like Chili Fest was an absolute
gross
nut job.
Hey, you want to see a funny picture?
Frank Ross.
Frank Ross with the Lombardi trophy from when he was in New England as like a scout team assistant. I saw this in the Texans release, and it made me laugh because Frank Ross rarely gets like super happy, but him like holding a Lombardi like it's a kid. It made me laugh.
Look at this effing guy.
Then,
There's Shaq Mason.
First
By the way,
return.
learn something about Shaq Mason. Learn something about Shaq Mason.
What's that?
Supposedly, that's one of the trades that the nerd portion of Patriot fans, like the avid nerd portion of Patriot fans, are really upset about.
I don't think they wish they had this Shaq Mason.
Well, they kind of do because they feel there was like a snowball effect of them trading him, and then they drafted whatever his name is, the guard that sucks there.
Cole Strange?
Yeah, Strange. Yeah, Strange. So they went looking for some Strange, and that Strange ended up requiring an extra shower the next night from the Strange that they got. So they got rid of Shaq. They got rid of Old Faithful and Shaq, and then they went searching for some Strange. And that Strange, apparently, you had to take a shower, then you had to go to the doctor, and they just think that they could have avoided the whatever herp or whatever had they not had to go search for Strange because they got rid of Shaq.
Oh man, he's not even on IR. He's not even on, like, he's on PUP. So like he's coming back from something serious. He's coming back from something. It's Strange.
Yeah, so they look at that. They look at that as like a little bit of a
oh god,
like a snowball effect. Like they blame the Shaq trade for them drafting a bust.
Welcome to the snowball effect club.
Yeah, sometimes good snowball effects, but we've had some good snowball effects too.
Yeah, sorry. 20 years of success, and you're finally dealing with the snowball effect. I will say the Rams laughing at the Patriots because Cole Strange was a third rounder on their board, and they drafted him in the first round. Was
McVay, when they showed the McVay, and
was one of the highlights of that draft.
Yeah, he was joking. He was like, "What? How the hell did that happen?"
All right, so Landry, you're going to the Texas OU game. It's at the Texas State Fair. What's the State Fair move? And you've got more time at the State Fair now because they changed the game time.
Yeah, we're going to go early. Normally it's 11 a.m. So what you do when you walk in the State Fair, first of all, you get your coupons right at the beginning. You don't wait to get in the middle of the mix. You get your coupons right at the beginning. Usually get about $120, $150 worth of coupons.
Okay.
You walk right to the Fletcher's corn dog stand. And you get dog or two. And then you go to the
mustard,
tent.
Ketchup. What's the condiment?
Mustard and ketchup for sure.
Okay.
Mixed. And then you go to the tent. There's a food court tent right there. Huge ass food court.
Okay.
And in the right corner and in the back corner, there's beer. And it's probably like $2 or $3 cheaper. It's nice draft. It's my favorite drink in the world. Draft beer at the State Fair at Texas OU is my favorite drink. Like, that's very specific. Draft beer, State Fair, Texas OU, my favorite drink. But you go into that stand, you get the keg beer right there because they have it. It's cheaper. A lot of people don't know that. It's cheaper. You get that. Then you look around there. There's a lot. There's a Cajun spot where they got some fried alligator. There's some Texas nachos that are in the shape of Texas nachos that you get. Your post-game drink is a full pineapple pina colada, which is on the other edge. It's a full pineapple pina colada where you go get it. They put like all kinds of stuff in it. It's sick. But then you go out, you go to the right, and that's where they have like the taste of the State Fair, and you just go through and handle that business.
And that's all like the new stuff and like the legendary stuff.
No doubt.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's
the beer tip. The beer tip is a good one because I bet you people end up paying too much for their beers.
Oh, it's huge, and you can order two at a time, and you just basically sitting there sipping some draft beers. Best thing in the world, no doubt. Sarah talking about Tommy Townsend. Ross said that he hadn't been that bad. I don't agree. I do think that I neglected that special team stretch in the last minute of the last game. Maybe it was just because it was a blur. Maybe it's because I just don't look at Kaimi Fairbairn and say, okay, Frank Ross is coaching this guy. Like, I think he's a kicker and figuring it out. But between the down punt in the two, the Woods return, the Fairbairn kick, that was pretty good special teams at the end of the game. Pretty good job by the third phase.
Yeah. I mean, look, the 33-yard punt, I'm sure Townsend defenders would tell you, well, he had a 61-yard punt too. So, but he's got to be good every time. Like, you're an all-pro. Could be good every time.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think he'll be all right. I'm not worried about Tommy Townsend. There's a high standard. There's a high standard for Tommy Townsend. So there we go. Stoots, appreciate you.
Appreciate
we'll get
you.
ready for this fair. And I'm enjoying myself, man.
What's the in Dallas Friday night plan? You got a favorite restaurant you're going to or something?
I'm hanging out. I'm eating roast. My mom's making roast. Like, I ain't going out
hell
here.
yeah.
I'm chilling, bro. I'm gonna eat roast. Go to
She
bed.
make the strawberry thing?
Nah. It's only for special occasions, my friend.
Why is Texas OU not a special occasion?
It's just not, man. Not for her. It's just another game, dude. Focused.
Maybe for the Aggie game.
Focus, man. No, that's Thanksgiving leftovers.
Just another game. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, just another one at a time, man. I'm going to DeMeco Hardo.
All right, you got the 10:30 stream tonight?
10:30 stream tonight. Have nightmares turned into a deep sleep. And is that deep sleep healthy? Nice. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Appreciate you for being patient with me on the road. Stream can't stop. You can't skip streams. It's a lifestyle. Been doing this for 2 years and 2 months? Nearly 1,300, 1,400 videos, whatever. We got to do it. Whatever it is, it's got to grind. Grind doesn't stop. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for coming through.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon.
There you go. Appreciate y'all.